Citizens of the world, we have a power greater than any in the history of mankind. Look and tremble.
Welcome, G.I. Joe fans. Some of you might have some of these action figures from Super 7 with elbows and legs, knees that don't bend. In this video, I have a couple of action figures here that I've been modifying, and I wanted to show you how simple it is to make the arms bend in a configuration to hold the weapon. As you know, growing up in the 70s, we had lots of vinyl. So manipulating action figures made out of vinyl is something that we can easily do with just some hot water, hot and cold water. I'll take this one apart here. I've had it apart before. It's very simple to pop them off. They are glued on the inside here, just at the seam, and a little super glue would put it right back together again. I've modified the heads for another figure, but the legs here click in to the frame as well as the arms, you can see. And I'm going to take this arm out of that's the back of the frame here, and I'm going to put it in the hot water bath. I'm going to bend it at the elbow here and try to turn it in towards the center to hold the gun. Now this water here, I've put in the microwave for about 3 minutes, and this cup here is cold Cobra water, no, just ice water. And what we're going to do is we're going to put the blue vinyl arm here, solid blue, so you're not going to see any stretch marks or anything. Time lapse here about 1 minute, and we are going to just hold that. You can feel it, it's rubbery, it's kind of hot. Now the trick is that you have to hold it in place when you put it in the cold water, because the cold water is going to freeze the vinyl into the shape that you want it. I'm going to time lapse this a little bit here too. That's just enough to cool it down. Here we go. We're going to pull it out and we're going to show you. Now the arm is kind of facing in. Now you might have to do this more than once. You might have to put it back into the frame here. The reason I took it out of the frame was so I didn't get the paint hot or melt it off. I did start out with a blowtorch, and I thought that was kind of excessive, and it didn't do wonders for the paint either. And this hot water bath works so well, I just had to share it with you. Now you can see the arm is bent just slightly in, and then we can work on the other arm to bend it at the elbow to hold the gun in position. And maybe you want to have the gun in its hand when you're shaping it. And if you're working with just hot water, that shouldn't dissolve the paint off either. So you could probably leave the action figure together and work with it all in one piece. I'm not saying that the boiling water wouldn't release the glue, but if you maybe put a rubber band around its waist or tape it or something like that, you wouldn't have to take the head and arms apart. And you can see here now, this one here I modified a little bit, and so now they're bending in, and you can bend them as much as you like to hold the gun, or they're standing at their post, or maybe they're pointing their weapon at somebody. Here we got a close-up now. Here I got the arms in. Now obviously this one here I worked a little bit harder on, and I think he's holding the gun and he's standing guard. Now let's see what we can do with the legs. The legs are also solid blue vinyl. What we're worrying most about is bending it at the knee without stretching and ruining the paint. What we're going to do is we're going to stick it in this hot boiling water here. then stick it in the cold ice water. And we're going to see how well this works with the leg. This is my first time doing it. I don't know how well it's going to work. We'll time lapse it a little bit here, pulling it out after about a minute, minute and a half in 3-minute boiling water. I'm going to bend it and then hold it in the cold water in the shape that I want it to be in. Okay, we'll see how it worked. Well, the paint's okay. The knee joint is not exactly 90 degrees. And it was kind of hard to hold it in the water there, the water bath. The arms are smaller. And we'll put it in the frame here and see what it looks like. Now you want them sitting in a chair, or maybe you want them sitting in a vehicle. The straight legs work just fine sitting in the vehicle. I basically wanted more out of my vinyl figures because they look so cartoon-like, much better than the 80s version. And I was really happy. There we go. We can see here we got a bend in the knee there. It's kind of twisted a little bit, but of course we work with it. I'll keep it in the frame here and we'll try it again. And we'll time lapse it. We'll try to bend it a little straighter. We'll put it in the cold water and hold it until it completely cools down. That way it'll hold the shape. Or we warm the water up too. And I just used the microwave on for about 3 minutes. Okay, well there, now maybe if you're sitting at an office chair, that doesn't look too bad. Of course, we could work on it for quite a while. And if you make a mistake and you don't like it at all, you just stick it right back in that hot water. And the really cool thing is that after a little while, it's going to just get like a wet noodle. And when you pull it out, you can bring it right back to the original shape that it was. The vinyl's not going to look stretched. You're not going to have stretch marks. You're not going to have broken paint. And there we go. Right back to the way it was. You want to change your action figures every day. You can. Look at there. I'll put it back together here in just a minute. And we'll make them stand. So if you want to change your poses, maybe you've bought a few more and you want to move them around and change your dioramas. Maybe you want all your action figures standing guard. Maybe you want a few sitting at a computer console. You got options. Of course, I took the heads off these guys because I'm using them in other modifications. All these heads from the Super 7 Reaction fit in the Super 7 Reaction Plus figures. So you can go do a whole bunch of modifying.
This is but the first in a series of demonstrations of the awesome power of Cobra. Beg your leaders to surrender to Cobra at once. You have 24 hours. Cobra!